ka kutonyo.
Natvat samostya apyadika kutonyo.
Lokatrayepya pratima prabhava.
Lokatrayepya apratima prabhava.
Itasi lokasya characharasya.
Pitasi lokasya characharasya.
Namasya pujascha gurur gariyan.
Tvamasya pujascha gurur gariyan.
Natvat samostya pyadika kutonyo.
Natvat samostya
Vyadika
apyadika
kutonyo.
kutonyo.
Lokatrayepya pratima prabhava.
Lokatrayepya apratima prabhava.
Pitasi lokasya characharasya.
Pitasi lokasya characharasya.
Tvamasya pugyascha gurur gariyan.
Tvamasya pujasya gurur gariyan.
Natvat samostya abhyadhikaha kutonyo.
Natvat samostya abhyadika kutonyo.
Lokatraye apya apratima prabhava.
Lokatrayepya apratima prabhava.
Pitasi lokasya characharasya.
Pitasi lokasya characharasya.
Tvamasya pujasya gurur gariyan.
Tvamasya pujasya gurur gariyan.
Natvat samostya abhyadika kutonyo.
Natvat samostya apyadika kutonyo.
Lokatrayepi apratima prabhava.
Lokatraye apratima prabhava.
Anyone else want to try this difficult verse?
Pitasi lokasya characharasya.
Pitasi lokasya characharasya.
Tvamasya pujascha gurur gariyan.
Tvamasya pujasya gurur gariyan.
Natvat samosti abhyadhikah kutonyo.
Natvat samostya apyadika kutonyo.
Lokatrayepya apratima prabhava.
Lokatrayepya apratima prabhava.
Pita,
Pita,
the father.
Father,
Asi,
Asi,
you are.
you are.
Lokasya,
Lokasya,
all the world.
of all the world.
Chara,
Chara,
Moving.
Acharasya,
Acharasya,
Non-moving.
and not moving.
not moving.
Tvam,
Tvam,
you are.
you are.
Asya,
Asya,
of this.
of this.
Pujaha,
Puja,
worshipable.
worshipable.
Cha,
Yeah,
also.
also.
Guru,
Guru,
master.
Master,
Kariyan,
Kariyan,
glorious.
glorious.
Na,
Na,
never.
never.
Vatsamaha,
What's
equal to you.
equal to you?
Asti,
Asti,
there is.
there is.
Abhyadikaha,
Abhyadika,
greater.
greater.
Kutaha,
Kutaha,
how is it possible?
how is it possible?
Anyaha,
Anya,
other.
Other.
Lokotraye,
Lokatraya,
in the three planetary systems.
in the three planetary systems.
Api,
Api,
also.
also.
Pratima Prabhava,
Apratima Prabhava,
O immeasurable power.
oh immeasurable power.
Translation. You are the Father of this complete cosmic manifestation of the moving and the non-moving. You are the worshipable chief, the supreme spiritual master. No one is equal to you, nor can anyone be one with you. How then could there be anyone greater than you within the three worlds, O Lord of immeasurable power? Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is worshipable as the Father is worshipable for his Son. He is the spiritual master because he originally gave the Vedic instructions to Brahma and presently he is also instructing Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. Therefore, he is the original spiritual master, and any bona fide spiritual master at the present moment must be a descendant in the line of disciplic succession stemming from Krishna. Without being a representative of Krishna, one cannot become a teacher or spiritual master of transcendental subject matter. The Lord is being paid obeisances in all respects. He is of immeasurable greatness. No one can be greater than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, because no one is equal to or higher than Krishna within any manifestation, spiritual or material. Everyone is below him. No one can excel him. This is stated in the Svetasvatara Upanishad 6.8, Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate, natat samas cha vyadikas cha drishyate. The Supreme Lord, Krishna, has senses and a body like the ordinary man, but for him, there is no difference between his senses, his body, his mind, and himself. Foolish persons who do not perfectly know him say that Krishna is different from his soul, mind, heart, and everything else. Krishna is absolute, therefore his activities and potencies are supreme. It is also stated that although he does not have senses like ours, he can perform all sensory activities. Therefore, his senses are neither imperfect nor limited. No one can be greater than him. No one can be equal to him, and everyone is lower than him. The knowledge, strength, and activities of the Supreme Personality are all transcendental. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 4.9, Janma karma chame divyam evam yoveti tattvataha tyaktva deham puna janma naiti mam eti sojuna. Whoever knows Krishna's transcendental body, activities, and perfection whoever knows Krishna's transcendental body, activities, and perfection after quitting his body, returns to him and does not come back again to this miserable world. Therefore, one should know that Krishna's activities are different from others. The best policy is to follow the principles of Krishna that will make one perfect. It is also stated that there is no one who is master of Krishna. Everyone is his servant. The Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi 5.142 confirms Ekala Ishvara Krishna Arasabha Britya. Only Krishna is God and everyone else is his servant. Everyone is complying with his order. There is no one who can deny his order. Everyone is acting according to his direction, being under his superintendence. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, he is the cause of all causes. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nevase Sasanyavadi Prasthachade Satalani. You are the Father of this complete cosmic manifestation of the moving and the non-moving. You are its worshipable chief, the supreme spiritual master. No one is equal to you, nor can anyone be one with you. How then could there be anyone greater than you within the three worlds, O Lord of immeasurable power. So this is, of course, is Arjuna after seeing the universal form. This is, now we're going to be coming up to some longer purports. In the beginning, there was either no purports or very, very short purports. And now we have some longer purports, which I would like to go over somewhat again. Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is worshipable as a father is worshipable for his son. Of course, this is in Vedic culture. You know, Srila Prabhupada was born in 1896. He wrote this in those days, and when he grew up, the father is worshipable. It's still in India, to a great extent, the father is worshipable. In other countries, you would never really say your father's worshipable, at least in America. You respect him, you should give him respect. But here, Prabhupada is explaining that Krishna is he's our father. He's everyone's father. There's, one thing about him being our father, there's another part where it says that Krishna is our great-grandfather, and Brahma is our grandfather. But sometimes we say there's Brahma and everyone else is coming from Brahma. But there's from Brahma came Swayambhuva Manu, and his wife was Sadarupa, maybe Sadarupa. But anyway, and from them, all, Manu came, and then then everybody, all the father of mankind is Manu. And in any case, Brahma had some children, and they created all the other children. So therefore, Brahma would be our grandfather, and Krishna is our great-grandfather. So that's one thing sometimes you hear, that he's our great-grandfather. I remember hearing this in a previous verse, and I was thinking that even how is he our great-grandfather? Wouldn't he be our grandfather? Krishna. And Brahma's our father, but it's Brahma's only the father of a few people, different Prajapatis, to create the living entities for this universe. So I just want to read something else. This is from the preface. Our Krishna consciousness movement is genuine, historically authorized, natural, and transcendental due to its being based on Bhagavad Gita as it is. Our great society, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Let's see, in Los Angeles, many fathers and mothers used to come to see me to express their feelings of gratitude for my leading the Krishna consciousness movement throughout the entire world. Some of them said that it is greatly fortunate for the Americans that I have started the Krishna consciousness movement in America. But actually, the original father of this movement is Lord Krishna himself, since it was started a very long time ago, but is coming down to human society by disciplic succession. So we can see Krishna can be our father, Krishna can be our grandfather, Krishna can be our great-grandfather. But even this movement, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Prabhupada says that Krishna is the father of this movement, because this is coming from Krishna. We also talked about the spiritual master. He is the spiritual master because he originally gave the Vedic instructions to Brahma, and presently he is also instructing Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. Therefore, he is the original spiritual master, and any bona fide spiritual master at the present moment must be a descendant in the line of the disciplic succession streaming from Brahma. So the spiritual master, they said the spiritual master is one. The spiritual master is Krishna, because if someone is a bona fide spiritual master, he's speaking the Vedic knowledge, he's speaking Bhagavad Gita, he's representing Krishna in this way, so he's also a bona fide spiritual master. But he has to be in a line of spiritual master. He just can't come from nowhere and just make this up. Just like someone uh, just like in this verse, one who knows the appearance and disappearance of Krishna can go back home, back to Godhead, just by knowing this. That he's completely spiritual. His senses are spiritual. His inside and his outside. There was some bogus person who wrote in Bhagavad Gita translating that Krishna's inside. We have to go within Krishna to understand Krishna. Prabhupada is explaining Krishna's inside, Krishna's outside are not different. They're the same. They're all spiritual. So we have to somehow or other, we have to follow Krishna. And he is our guru in one sense. He is the original spiritual master. And our spiritual master is his representative, but he has to be in this line. Being in this line is also humility. That you're accepting somebody greater than you. You're accepting someone superior to you. You're respecting that person with awe and reverence. You're giving them obeisances. So that's a sign of humility. One time I was at New Vrindavan, and it was Janmashtami, and the next day was Srila Prabhupada's Vyas Puja. And on top of they have a big hill. They put up a big tent on this big hill, and many devotees came from all over. They also had, I think they had some news people, because he was speaking for other people who didn't really know about Krishna consciousness. But he said, what can you do to please God? And then he said, what can you do to please a rich man? Somebody who has so much riches, what can you do to please him? You can't buy him something. It's a big deal. He's got money, he can get it. It's not a big deal. He said, but if he has a son and you pat his son nicely on the head, or he said, or if he has a dog and you pet his dog nicely, he's pleased. And he said, similarly, I am like Krishna's dog. So, of course, we don't see this at all. But Prabhupada is being humble, and he's simply saying he's a representative of Krishna. And if we want to please Krishna, all we have to do is please him. And it's not so hard to please him. Simply follow some rules, chant Hare Krishna, he's pleased. Read Bhagavad Gita and tell other people about it. So it's not such a difficult thing. And then Krishna becomes pleased when we serve him. You're talking about love. We just read how love, the symptom of love is service. When you love someone, you serve them. So if you love your guru, you serve your guru. And how do we serve our guru? Even if Prabhupada isn't your Diksha guru, he's your Siksha guru. And your Diksha guru, his Diksha guru is Srila Prabhupada. So we have to be following Prabhupada just like Prabhupada followed Bhakti Siddhanta. So we should, these instructions, even once a devotee said that I want to distribute millions of books because it's your desire to Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada says, it's Lord Chaitanya's desire. It's Bhakti Vinod Thakur's desire. It's Bhakti Siddhanta's desire. Then it's my desire. So even Prabhupada's desire to distribute books, it's only because that's what they want. So he does want it. He does desire it. And even the devotee who was saying it, I want to distribute these books because it's your desire. He has that desire now because it's Prabhupada's desire. So the desires of the disciple should be the desires of the guru. And Prabhupada is everyone's either Diksha Guru or Parama Guru, and he's everyone's Shiksha Guru. So all we have to do is just try to please him, and Krishna is definitely pleased. So he is Krishna is the original spiritual master. And here, Any bona fide spiritual master at the present moment must be a descendant in the line of disciplic succession stemming from Krishna. Without being a representative of Krishna, one cannot become a teacher or a spiritual master or spiritual master of transcendental subject matter. I remember when I was a new devotee, we would go out at Harvard Square and chant, have Harinam, and we chant. And I saw this one person there. He had a sign on him. He was just walking around with a sign on him saying, "I am a spiritual master." This is a Westerner, not an Indian. And he didn't have too many followers. He was just walking around. I'm sure everybody just thought he was nuts. But he was trying to become a spiritual master by just putting a sign on himself. But you have to follow a spiritual master in order for you to become a spiritual master. So the Lord is being paid obeisances in all respects. He is of immeasurable greatness. No one can be greater than the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, because no one is equal to or higher than Krishna within any manifestation, spiritual or material. Of course, anything material is insignificant compared to spiritual, but just in case somebody thought somebody material might be great, Prabhupada apparently put in spiritual or material. Everyone is below him. No one can excel him. This is stated in the Svetasvatara Upanishad. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate natat samas cha vyadikas cha drishyate. Let's see, I got that verse somewhere in here. Yeah, so in the English, it's not written the exact English, but the exact English is, "He does not possess bodily form like that of an ordinary living entity. There is no difference between his body and his soul. He is absolute. All his senses are transcendental. Any one of his senses can perform the action of any other sense. So he can eat by seeing. He can smell with his ears." It doesn't say that part, I'm just adding that. "Therefore, no one is greater than him or equal to him. His potencies are multifarious, and thus his deeds are automatically performed as a natural sequence." Svetasvatara Upanishad. So there's no comparison with Krishna and anyone. I mean, even if you compare him with other Vishnu tattvas, there's certainly a lot of things you can compare, but he's still greater. For one reason, he is the original. Krishna Stu Bhagavan Swayam. He is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. All other incarnations come from him. That's one thing. But he also has a few things that none of the other incarnations have, like his flute playing. Nobody can play the flute like he does. What are the other things? The gopis? Having this relationship with the gopis. Even Lakshmi, who was, at serving Narayan's lotus feet, wanted to join in the rasa dance, but she couldn't. So the gopis are considered the greatest lovers of Krishna. Supreme Lord Krishna has his senses and a body like the ordinary man, but for him there is no difference between his senses, his body, his mind, and himself. Foolish persons who do not perfectly know him say that Krishna is different from his soul, mind, heart, or anything else. Krishna is absolute. Therefore, his activities and potencies are supreme. He's absolute. There's no difference with anything about it. There's no difference with him and his name. You chant his name, he's present in his name. And you can find out by just doing it, by associating with him. And when you associate with him in the form of his name or in the form of his scriptures or any form of his picture in the deity, when you associate with him in that way, you become purified because he is supremely pure. So it's also stated that although he does not have senses like ours, he can perform all sensory activities. Therefore, his senses are neither imperfect nor limited. Our senses are limited. You know, we something's too small, we can't see it. Something's too big, we can't see it. You know, we can't. I mean, you could see a mountain, but if you're so close, you can't really see it's a mountain. Our ears, we can hear sounds within certain decimals. If it's too low, we can't hear. It's too high, we can't hear. But the sound is still there. So our senses are limited. Christian senses are unlimited and they're perfect. And even if we build a microscope to see something really small that we can't see with our naked eye, it's still built with our imperfect senses. It's not going to be perfect. Christian senses are perfect. So no one can be greater than him, no one can be equal to him, and everyone is lower than him. Well, I think everyone is lower than him kind of goes with nobody's greater than him and nobody's equal to him. There's only one place left. And that's where we fit in. We're all lower than him and he's higher than us. So the knowledge, strength, and activities of the Supreme Personality are all transcendental, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, Janma Karma Jame Divyam Evam Yoveti Tatata Yaktva Deham Puna Janma Naiti Mameti Sojuna. One can know the transcendental nature of, this is Krishna speaking, of my appearance and activity. No, one who knows, the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. So all we have to do is know Krishna's body is completely spiritual, transcendental. His appearance, he doesn't take birth like a human being. He appeared with 4 arms as Vishnu, fully clothed with different weapons, you know, conch shell club, lotus flower, and conch shell club, lotus flower,
Disc.
and the disc. That's a pretty good weapon. So he came with these things, and then he appeared as a little baby. So his birth and activities are completely transcendental. And what's so nice is if you know this, you can go back home, back to Godhead. So knowing this, you shouldn't have any doubts about it. Whoever knows Krishna's transcendental body activities and perfection after quitting his body returns to him and doesn't come back again to this miserable world. It's a miserable world. Abramabuvanaloka punavartinojuna mamopetya tukantia punajanmana vidyate. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all the places of misery wherein repeated birth and death take place. Krishna certifies in Bhagavad Gita that this material world is a miserable place. It's a horrible place where birth and death take place. You can't be happy. You can be happy only when you're in illusion or when you're completely free from illusion and you're Krishna conscious, and that's real happiness. The other happiness is the mode of ignorance. You can be happy in the mode of ignorance, but then it doesn't last. I remember when I was a little kid, I don't remember how old, maybe 10 years old. I had a 2-wheeler bicycle, a 20-inch 2-wheeler bicycle. And I was really good at driving my bike or riding my bike. And now this is in New York City and I'm on the sidewalk. But I would experiment on things that I thought to find out if I can actually do them. So I thought that I can ride straight my bicycle even with my eyes closed. So I had to try it because I didn't want to just, yes, I could. I know I can. I don't know it until I try it. So I tried it. I'm on the sidewalk, and I'm riding my, what's the noise?
Someone sneezing?
Why is the mic on? Okay, so I'm riding my bicycle on the sidewalk, and I was riding for a while, and then I decided to open my eyes to see if I was going straight. At the second I opened my eyes, right in front of me was a telephone pole that I ran into, and the handlebars went into my side, and it hurt, and I was embarrassed. There was an old lady there. She must have thought it was completely nuts. How do I hit a telephone pole? But I hit it. And, I got the lesson that ignorance is bliss. While I'm in ignorance, everything is wonderful. But the next second, when I get smashed, and then I realized that was just foolish. I did several things foolish when I was a kid. I'll tell you a thing. This is just some personal thing and I'll tell you why I'm telling you in a minute. But my parents, when I was a little kid, I don't know, probably around 10, they for either Christmas or my birthday, they bought me a drum set, a kid's drum set, not a big one. And and they got really mad at me because I cut open the drums to see what was inside making the noise. And my parents, I remember them saying, "You idiot, you fool, you did what," they're saying all these things to me. So the reason I'm telling you this, because then later, after I became a devotee, I read this story that Prabhupada tells us. He tells this story about this boy who cut open the drum to see what was inside making the noise. And Prabhupada says he was very intelligent. I says, wow, that's not at all what my parents told me. But Prabhupada says that was very intelligent of the boy. So I felt really good. Prabhupada's so encouraging. Even when I was a little kid, I did something, and now he's telling me that was a sign of intelligence. I know most of us wouldn't think it was too intelligent, but Prabhupada did say that was an intelligent boy because he was thinking. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that just because it's off track completely from the universal form, but it was at least Prabhupada seeing things way differently than my parents saw them. So let's see. So once you know that Krishna's activities are different from others, the best policy is to follow the principles of Krishna. That will make one perfect. It is also stated that there is no one who is master of Krishna. Everyone is his servant. I mean, even our names, everyone who gets initiated, it's Das or Dasi, or servant of Krishna. Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi 5:142 confirms, Ekala Ishvara Krishna Ara Sabha Britya. Only Krishna is God and everyone else is his servant. I think I got that here. Ekala Ishvara Krishna Ara Sabha Britya. Yare Yaiche Nachaya Se Taiche Kara Nitya. Lord Krishna alone is the supreme controller and all others are his servants. This second part of this I like, the second sentence. They dance as he makes them do so. This is Adi Lila 5:142. They dance as he makes them do so. I like that because that's what Prabhupada said in his Markandeya, Bhagavad Dharma, where when he first came here and he was on the Jaladuta and he wrote this poem and he said to Krishna, that Krishna, make me dance as you like. Oh Lord, make me dance. And here they dance as he makes them do so. So it's really nice that even Prabhupada's quote is kind of from a Chaitanya Charitamrita verse. Okay. Everyone is complying with his order. There is no one who can deny his order. Everyone is acting according to his direction. being under his superintendence. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, he is the cause of all causes. So it's Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadi Adi Govinda Savakarana Karanam. There are many personalities possessing the qualities of Bhagavan, but Krishna is the supreme because none can excel him. He is the supreme person and his body is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. He is the primeval Lord Govinda and the cause of all causes. It's a Brahma Samhita 5.1. It's in the 5th chapter, the first verse. Only the 5th chapter of the Brahma Samhita that we have. I don't think there is any more found. It's a book by Lord Brahma. Okay, so now, does anyone have any questions? First questions. You can unmute if you want to ask a question. Anybody know what I just said? I mean, not the questions. Alti Priya,
Yes, Prabhu.
you have a question?
No, Prabhu, you are intelligent, so I won't ask you anything.
No?
I don't know. There's something.
I know you're not asking, but I don't know what you said.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's
Okay,
first.
any comments? Okay, I'll read another verse. It's the text 44. You can repeat if you have the verse in front of you. Tasmat pranamya pranidaya karyam
Tasmat pranamya pranidaya
prasadaye tvam aham isham idyam
prasadaye tvam
Aham Isham Idyam
teva putrasya sakheva sakyu
Teva Putrasya
Sakhyo
kriya kriyayarhasi deva sodum.
Kriya
Kriya.
You are the Supreme Lord, to be worshipped by every living being. Thus I fall down to offer you my respectful obeisances and ask your mercy, as a father tolerates the impudence of his son, a friend the impudence of a friend, or a wife the familiarity of her partner. Please tolerate the wrongs I may have done you. Purport. Krishna's devotees relate to Krishna in various relationships. One might treat Krishna as a son, or one might treat Krishna as a husband, as a friend, or as a master. Krishna and Arjuna are related in friendship, as the father tolerates, or the husband, or a master tolerates, so Krishna tolerates. So Arjuna, after seeing the universal form, is realizing who his friend actually is, and because of that, he's thinking of the way he was so familiar with him. So he wants him to not be upset with him because of the way he dealt with him in the past. He didn't deal with him badly in any way. He dealt with him as a friend, as an equal. And that's what he wants him to forgive him for treating him as an equal. It's really hard. Okay, so he wants him to forgive him for treating him as an equal. But actually, Krishna appreciates much more when Arjuna is his friend and when Arjuna is his worshipable Lord in a sense of with awe and reverence. because then Krishna can have much more fun. He can please Krishna more. So this is how Arjuna is feeling. He's feeling he committed offenses. He didn't commit any offenses, and nor does Krishna think he committed any offenses, but he's feeling that way out of humility. Because he's seeing the greatness of God, seeing the greatness of Krishna, and he didn't treat him in that same way. Which that's Yoga Maya. Yoga Maya gets the devotee to not see Krishna as God. Now the devotee who's fully surrendered to Krishna remembers Krishna always. So Yoga Maya covers him to remember Krishna, but not as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but as a friend, as a lover, as a child, your child. You have to take care of your child. And sometimes, because you have to take care of your child, you have to chastise your child to correct him. Otherwise, how is he going to learn? Krishna likes that. So Yoga Maya covers the devotee. How can a devotee possibly chastise Krishna as a child because he's stealing? We know he's Krishna. What would we do? He's stealing. Okay, you want me to? I'll help you steal if you like, if you want. But he likes that relationship. So Yoga Maya covers the devotee. The devotee never forgets Krishna, but he forgets that he's God. And he thinks of him in whatever particular relationship he has. Like here, Arjuna sees him as his friend.
Prabhu,
Okay.
does this apply to gurus also? Can you ask the same of guru to tolerate us, like, because sometimes we are become familiar with the guru, or so
Yeah,
we can.
but one thing is, that's interesting that you mentioned that. Yes, you certainly should. But your relationship with your guru is always in awe and reverence. Relationship with the guru never becomes like friend. You can act friendly sometimes with the guru, but you always have to have that awe and reverence. Like with devotees with Prabhupada, sometimes they were friendly, they joked, but they always knew he's who he is. Not like with the cowherd boys. He's who he is. He's Krishna. He's the Supreme Lord. No, he's going home. We're not going to play with you anymore. That's that. If you go home now, we're having the best time, and your mother's calling you now. You want to go home? You don't even. We're not playing anymore with you. We'll play without you. So the relationship with the guru is never like that. You never cover it over like that. Shouldn't be an illusion. But yes, you should ask forgiveness. Sometimes I get too familiar. I mean, with Prabhupada, there's only not very many devotees were so close. And Prabhupada says that familiarity sometimes breeds contempt. There's a saying, familiarity breeds contempt. But Prabhupada says familiarity sometimes breeds contempt. So sometimes you get familiar and you might be a little too familiar. And then the spiritual master can see this, and if you should do something about it if possible, and say something and ask for forgiveness, but the spiritual master will distance himself from a disciple who is getting too familiar. But yes, why not? If you joked around too much, spiritual master. What's all the noise? Who's dealing with this? Everybody seems to be muted. How do we hear this noise? Anyway, so but it's interesting that Krishna, the relationships goes beyond awe and reverence, and it goes to very familiar. But with the guru, it's never. Even in the spiritual world, we'll see our guru, and that relationship will be a little different. He's the one that brought you back there. So you really appreciate it. You don't forget that.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Welcome.
I remember hearing that we should be a fool before our spiritual master.
Yeah.
Not foolish, but remain as a fool. Like Lord Chaitanya's spirit said that his spiritual master said that he was a fool and he should chant Hare Krishna. Told that to Prakashananda Saraswati. But not foolish.
Right. Well, I got a few more minutes. If you can think of questions or comments, but I'm going to read something. Radhaman does. He doesn't have a mic. Radhaman said something. I'm going to see what he said. I didn't hear. No mic. In this verse, this is a question from Radhaman because he doesn't have any sound. So he typed it in. This is the previous verse. In this verse, Arjuna addresses Lord Krishna as the worshipable Father. If one worships Krishna as a son worships his father, that sounds like the servitude rasa, as in the example of the residents of Dwarka given in Nectar of Devotion. Please comment on the worship rasa of the residents of Dwarka and whether Srila Prabhupada mentions Lord Jesus in regards to Dwarka. Well, I certainly don't remember him mentioning Jesus in Dwarka. I mean, I don't know everything Prabhupada said. But yeah, in the service, that's the the first relationship that the devotees, at least in our line of disciplic succession, will accept is that of a servant of Krishna. You can also accept a neutral relationship, actually. Yes, you could be neutral. A neutral relationship would be more like Krishna's flute, and whenever he likes, he can take you and use you. That's more of a neutral relationship. So devotees can do that. But above that is servant. So it's just one of the relationships, but it's not the highest. It's a higher relationship to have Krishna as your son. And you're teaching him. Just like well, he mentions Jesus in the Christian, it's our Father who art in heaven, give us our daily bread. You're praying to your Father, give me bread, So that's a relationship one can have, but it's not the highest. That's more awe and reverence because he's God. But it's not where you're forgetting that he's God, like Arjuna did. And now Arjuna sees who he actually is, so now he's seeing him more like his father. But then he'll see him as his friend again later. But he's in that relationship, after seeing the universal form, he understands who his friend actually is. So then he sees him more as the father. I had some things I wrote down. So anyone else? I'm not sure if I answered your question.
Something about Dwarka.
Yeah, I don't know about Dwarka. I don't know what it is. They had different relationships. It wasn't just awe and reverence in Dwarka. They were wives. But they weren't gopis. Gopis, the wives were perfect wives, and they very submissive to their husband Krishna, whereas the gopis sometimes were upset with Krishna. The wives don't get upset with Krishna. Krishna likes when they get upset. They get mad at him. It's more intimate. It's more like equals. Whereas the husband and wife, the husband is always right, when it's Krishna, of course, and the wives just serve him.
But They had children there too, right?
Yeah, they had children.
They
And
accepted
the when Rukmini, now she was his first wife and like you can say maybe the favorite wife. And one time Krishna joked with her about, I'm not really suitable for you. There's so many other people, so many other men would have been a better match. And he started to say that he's just going to leave because he's not. Anyway, he started saying things that she just fainted, fell down on the floor. It says like a banana tree falls down, just fell down. She became unconscious. So can't. She's taking everything very seriously. What Krishna's saying, he was just joking with her. It says also Lord Chaitanya, it said one time joked with his wife. So that was their relationship. Like they didn't joke.
serious business.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Because somehow or other, I want to thank everyone for staying on for the whole hour.
I have a question, Prabhuji, about the rasas. We were talking just now about rasas. So we
Yeah.
know that the 5 rasas where we have the Vatsalya rasa, Sakhya rasa, Dasya rasa, Shanta rasa, and the but there are certain relationships which I sometimes find it difficult to understand what rasa they fall into. Like for example, if someone is a brother of Krishna, what would be that rasa? There is no specific rasa for brother. Is it in the Sakhya rasa or
Well, what brothers he have?
like Balaram?
Yeah, but Balaram is like Krishna. They're like
Yeah,
equals.
but we understand that is from a tattva, from a philosophy perspective. He is Krishna only, but when he's performing leelas, he is the brother of Krishna. So what kind of rasa is that? And then similarly, the sons of Krishna, are they with what kind of rasa they will have with
Well,
Krishna?
they'd have the rasa it mentions here, just like you treat, your father. Son treats his father, worships his father. So it's the same way. That was Vedic culture. So
Is it like a
that's fine.
Dasaras then? The sons will be in the Dasaras because they are supposed to treat their father as give them a.
I would think so, and I would think that the brothers would be more in the Sakya Ras, his friendship.
Yep, that's what I was thinking, but yeah. So, for example, Lakshman he's a brother of Lord Ram, but he's always very submissive to Lord Ram. He's not exactly, teasing him or
Because he's the younger brother. This is Vedic culture, like the younger brother served the older brothers.
But Krishna teases Balaram many times. We see,
Yudhishthira Maharaj, all his brothers served him. They did whatever he wanted. He was. Now,
okay.
what else were you saying?
No, I was saying like Krishna used to tease Balaram many times. If we look at the leelas that Krishna did, Krishna was younger to Balaram, but he used to tease Balaram. But when we see Ram and Lakshman was always very submissive and very.
Yeah, but still Balaram is superior. He listens to Balaram. Balaram comes and tells him, now you got to come home because he didn't want to go home before. Then he goes home. He may joke with him, brothers joke, but he would Balaram was his elder brother and he had to listen to him and respect him.
Yeah, that makes sense, Prabhuji.
But they definitely were friends and they were both the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So I'm just thinking Balaram knew, like when Krishna was lifting Govardhan Hill and the hill moved, people became afraid and Balaram, kind of laughed, because he knows Krishna's holding the hill, nothing can happen.
Yeah.
You know why the hill shook?
No.
because Krishna was looking at the gopi's breast, and when he looked at the gopi's breast, the hill shook, and well, there's a little more to the story. And then Balaram laughed, but Krishna thought Balaram was laughing because he saw him looking at the gopi's breast, and he was embarrassed. But that's not what Balaram was thinking.
Remember, this is the same one who manifests the universal form.
Right. Yeah. Jiva said, remember, this is the same one who manifested the universal form.
Yeah. We should not think he's ordinary like us.
Yeah, so you really have to appreciate the universal form, and this is just a material manifestation of Krishna. It's like nothing. But then you can appreciate when he does these other things with the gopis. Otherwise, you shouldn't read anything about Krishna and the gopis because you'll misunderstand. But if you realize his greatness, if you really realize his greatness, then you can appreciate it.
And he's doing that for them because that's their
And even when he steals Gopi's Vastra, he leaves behind Balaram in that pastime.
Which one?
When he steals Gopi's clothes,
Oh,
he leaves behind Balaram in the pastime.
He what?
she said he leaped behind Balaram. Leaps behind Balaram.
I don't understand that.
He doesn't take Balaram along with him for that pastime where he steals Gopi's clothes, because he wants to
Oh, okay. She told me the
I
wrong
heard
thing.
leap.
She heard something else. Yeah.
He's embarrassed, to take Balaram with him. Yeah.
Right. No, I understand. I understand what you're saying. It's just that my translator messed up. Okay, so let's offer our obeisances to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who just like